Welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League from every angle, brought to you by Macca's, and we are back again high above Las Vegas Boulevard in the best seat in the house. Only 2 days away from the big games that are going to be played at Allegiant Stadium. I've got Gordon Tallis, Michael Carianis and Brent Reid. And Reid, it's good to see that you've got a proper suit on tonight.
You didn't like the pink jacket, Braith?
No, I didn't.
It got a lot of positive feedback from back home.
Did it?
Even had some Parramatta people send me messages saying, nice jacket. That's true story. I did.
Mick, what have you been up to?
Well, they had nothing else to rap you about last night.
Oh, wow.
Here we go.
We'll get to that
Shots
later,
fired.
Mick. We'll get to that later. You enjoying Vegas?
Yeah, it's great. Like, it's surreal to be sitting here with the Vegas Strip behind us on NRL 360, and the fleet has switched a little bit. You walk around town and there's Aussies, there's Pommies, there's footy fans everywhere, and you get into a cab or an Uber, they know what you're here for now once they hear the accent.
Couple of quiet drinks, or you've been a good boy?
How about you, Gordy?
Well, the Cowboys fans have arrived for me, so seeing them all this morning having coffees that quickly turned into cocktails for the Cowboys fans, but yeah, the cavalry's arrived. It's fantastic.
Now, Gordy, at the moment, the Fan Fest is on at Fremont Street, and we hear it is absolutely going crazy, and who better to cross to than the great man, Andrew Voss.
Braith, calling this chaotic, calling this pandemonium does not do it justice. I want to take you for a walk. I've been around rugby league all my life. This is seriously the biggest event I've ever been to. Last year was massive. This is bigger. They have cracked 10,000 fans for sure and certain. Every club represented that is playing on Saturday night here in Vegas, but other supporters are here. I saw an old North Sydney Bears jersey crossing the road at Old Vegas. Now, Fremont Street, just so our viewers know, is Old Vegas. The history goes back to the 1930s. You'll see it featured in Elvis films, in James Bond films. It was in Dodgeball. It's on Grand Theft Auto, the video game. But I'm going to tell you, this is the biggest event they've ever had. And it's got to do with our great game of rugby league. Have a look at these people. The players are going to do this red carpet walk. It is going to be one of their experiences of a lifetime, and we'll be back here a little later to tell you all about it.
Wow, what about that? Anyone who knows Vossi knows that he's in absolute heaven right now. What about the scenes down there, Fremont Street? The crowd has turned up, the fans are here, and they are ready. That atmosphere, it's going off.
Well, it went off last year, Braith. That looks even bigger, I think.
It does.
And that's hard to believe given what we saw last year. It was crazy down there last year. So, yeah.
What about that, Gordy?
Hurry up, Reedy, let's go down there. What are we doing?
We'll finish the show off and we'll be straight down there. Now, we spoke last night about the games being played here in Vegas, global round. Looks like they're going to see the 5 years out here in Las Vegas. It's been an enormous success from PVL and his team. But what about global round? Is there going to be a change, and what are they looking at?
Well, I think this has given them the momentum to do it, Braith. I mean, they'll make a big profit this year. That I believe it's around the $2 million mark. They make a profit on this Vegas round this year. So they're obviously exploring London. That's been talked about. For me, that's a logical place to go because the game over there needs support, and they've given us support with the teams that have come here and the fans that have come here. So it wouldn't surprise me if it happens down the track. Next year might be too soon, but it will happen at some point.
It's good for us. Another trip, Gordy.
You'll have to make a choice, Braith.
I'm loving this. I'm loving
You'll have to go to Vegas or London. It'll be the same weekend.
Vegas 3 or 5 years.
Vegas is more your sort of
Mick,
town.
rules. You wrote an article today. Can you tell us what's happened there?
Yeah, so the NRL has sent out an email to all the coaches directly, Braith, regarding a couple of new interpretations, I guess, that we're going to see in place this year. The big one is around the disruptor, which causes us massive confusion at times. So now, basically, any player that tries to catch a ball one-handed to contest the ball, almost any time that's going to be ruled as an obstruction and a penalty.
Okay.
So it's going to be really interesting. They're going to crack down on the fact that trying to take wingers and fullbacks out of play, we're going to see a fair bit of penalties, I think, for the defending side this year.
Gordy, first reaction to that?
Well, I've got to watch it. You know, and we see the escorts and and sometimes it's not a fair collision and they go up, they're not looking at the ball. Yeah. So I think it's probably fair at the moment, but I've got to watch it for the first couple of rounds, see whether it works.
All right, we're going to cover all 4 teams that are playing in the double header, and we're going to start with the Canterbury Bulldogs. And there was a scare last week with Matty Burton with his hamstring. He's over here. We spoke to their coach, Cameron Serrato, only last night. He said there was nothing in it. He's going to be fit to play. He's 100%. Reedy, is it true?
Well, Braith, I've been with the team all week. I've been at nearly every one of their training sessions. He's looked fine. There's been no indication of any injury. I mean, he's been kicking freely. He's looked great. He's participated in all the training sessions, all the simulated game activities. I don't think there's an issue with Matt Burton.
Okay, that's good news.
Reedy, what about Lockie Galvin? He was the most spoke about player last year. What about the media ban? Does that work
Well,
for you guys?
Well, it doesn't work for us because we want to talk to him, Gordy. But it's not a permanent media ban. This is only a thing to allow Lockie Galvin to focus on the start of the year without any added pressure on his shoulders. And we all know what he went through last year, right? We were talking about him every week on this show.
Were.
And I think he needs a bit of clear air, a bit of clear space, get into the season. He will talk.
But
It's
is
not
that
a
worrying
permanent thing.
signs, right? If you can't stand there, right? And this is and stand in front of the media, and we all had to do it when we've been in trouble or whatever, walking through judiciary. If you can't go and stand to the media, how are you expected to run a footy side?
Gordy, I don't think it's a Lockie Galvin decision. I don't think Lockie's gone to the club and said, I don't want to talk.
Well, they did it last year anyway.
I think the club's made the
He wasn't
decision.
talking last year anyway, right? So it hasn't really changed.
No.
And I suppose, Gordy, they just want to... Because even though it is a little bit unusual, I think we'd all love to hear from him, for the fans' perspective as well. He's had a lot of pressure on him, and more so than probably anyone else. But like you said, he needs to handle pressure because that's what makes you great, in our game. So it's a big one for him. What about him playing number 7? It was hard to talk to his coach and captain while they were here about it. They're obviously very confident. All rumours are out of camp that he's been sensational in the pre-season. Fit as a fiddle, great energy and all the rest. But is he a number 7 and really do a good job as the Bulldogs halfback?
I think the issue is not so much around Lockie Galvin being the number 7. It's that combination, right? The combination between Matt Burton and Lockie Galvin. I don't love it. I don't think it works. I think we've got two guys who their best asset is running the footy, playing off the cuff a little bit. Can they create... The question for mine is, can they create enough for their outside men? And they've got some strike out wide, the Bulldogs. Can those guys do enough to get service the big-name players that they've got on the outside?
Nick, you're spot on, and you're not alone on that opinion. Reedy, you've been inside the camp.
Yeah.
So have they been working with him one-on-one, trying to evolve his game or turn his game more into a traditional 7, or do they want him to just continue to play the way that he did last year?
Well, Braith, I haven't gone down to that minutiae with them, Braith. They haven't shared that with me, but
Get back
I
in there
don't
and
think I
find
don't
out
think
for
you
us,
can
mate.
I don't think you can understate how important it is that he had a full pre-season with them. You remember, he came in last year mid-season, right? Was just thrust in and expected to lead this team around the park. He's had a full pre-season now to do that, to work on his combination with Matt Burton, to work on his combination with Jacob Preston. And I really reiterate, I don't think you can underestimate how important that is for Lachlan. He is a smart footballer.
He is.
Like you talk to people about Lockie Galvin, they'll tell you he's a highly intelligent guy, and they're very confident he can lead this team around. I mean, he has to, because it's not with anyone else there who can do it.
I like Sean Sullivan.
You do?
Well,
I
I mean,
think-
in the side that was named.
Yeah.
I mean, the side that's named.
Oh,
for this
yeah.
game.
He's the
So Sullivan's a chance of starting at 7?
No,
No.
not at all. Not in round 1, not at all, no.
But you would go with O'Sullivan over Galvin at 7?
I would go Sullivan and Galvin combination and Matt Burton at centre. I think that just... Sean O'Sullivan...
What do you do with Bronson Cherry, Nick? Is he
Well,
out?
I don't think he was great last year, Bronson Cherry. I don't think he produced... He had a really good first year back at Canterbury. I don't think he was able to get to that same level again at the Bulldogs. And if you've got Crichton and Burton on either edge, and you've got Sean just being able to kick, pass, and get this team around, that frees up all those players.
But what about Burton's future? Because we keep on hearing Woods too. He's another young half that they say eventually will end up wearing a number
Well, the
7.
problem for Mitch Woods is he's had multiple hamstring injuries now, and he's not here in Vegas, right? Because he's had a hamstring problem again, and he's sidelined for the start of the year. So that's an issue for them because that's inhibited his development, Gordy. So, I would have thought before he got this latest injury, I would have thought maybe he's the halfback back by the end of the year. I'm not sure if that happens now because his development's been impacted so much over the past 2 years by hamstring problems. And Mick's right. I mean, if it doesn't work, they can turn to Sean. Sean's there. I mean, he's a highly intelligent... You talk to anyone about Sean O'Sullivan, they'll tell you this guy's going to be a coach one day. Highly intelligent footballer. He's a great backup for them. But I think for them to win the comp, this combination has to work.
And what about Burton's future then?
Well,
He's got 1 year to go?
Well, if Woods comes through, I mean, Perth are watching Matt Burton and the situation Matt Burton.
Well, you said that you think Woods will end up at 7.
I think he will eventually.
So
yeah.
if he ends up at 7, then Galvin goes to 6, Burton gets moved out into the centres. He's off contract next year, I believe. He's
End of
got-
next year,
end of
yeah.
next year. Is all directions pointing to Matt Burton possibly moving on.
Well, I think the issue there is, Brad, you're going to have two centres. You cannot, in the modern game, have two centres on $1 million a year. And Matt Burton's on about, I think he might be on over $1 million. Steve Crichton's on big money. You can't have that in the modern game. It throws your salary cap out of whack. So something has to give. Yeah. And Burton's the obvious guy.
And I think let's not be premature here because we haven't kicked the ball yet. No. We've got a combination of two guys who are elite. You know, Galvin and Burton are elite rugby league players. They are. And Galvin's got such a big future ahead of him. Burton's a rep player. And we haven't seen the combination after a full pre-season. So, yeah, we're talking about the what-ifs, but they could come out and kill it and, you know, who knows. But is there pressure on the Dogs this year? Finishing third, it's kind of falling off a cliff at the back end there and not really firing a shot in the finals. You know, Cameron Soriano says he doesn't really care too much for the outside noise and the expectations and pressures, but the reality
is... the expectations are higher, Braith, I believe, with them. And everybody knows who the Bulldogs are. I thought they may have surprised people last year, but I think there is pressure on them, Reedy, do you?
I think that's a wrap for Cameron Sorrell, that there is pressure, because the expectation now is the very minimum expectation is top four. Like, if they don't make the top four, it's a disappointing season for me, because they've set a standard so high.
What about the external noise? So when you reckon it worries them?
No, well, it's hard to avoid. Like, last year was a completely out-of-the-box situation, right? The external noise was crazy last year because of the Galvin situation. That won't happen. I don't imagine that will happen again this year.
But you know, Reedy, after the first couple of games, if they lose, everyone's going to be talking about the halves. But it's not just the halves, Brace. You look at, they got a relatively new hooker, right? Bailey Hayward hasn't been a week in, week out NRL playing the number 9 jersey, hasn't started a lot of games, hasn't had to play big minutes, right? So I think we're understating that impact on the side as well. So there are some question marks. As much as there's all this goodwill and talk around the Dogs, I really feel like there's some question marks around
I also do believe, too, that the Dogs will be top 8 comfortably.
Yeah.
They'll be on the edge of the top 4, and even if they don't get the combination right in the halves, they'll still be there because they're tough. They've got a great defensive system, an unbelievable culture and great leaders. So they're going to be there, but we're talking about just that element or that piece of the puzzle that wins them a premiership, and can they get that done with their spine? You know, that's the big one. Let's move on to the Dragons. Big, I know you've been in camp with them all week. They're under pressure too because of their trial game or their loss against the Bunnies reserve grade team, really, in that Charity Shield. I think it shocked all of us the way that they did lose against the team that they did come up against. I'll come to you on this because you've been inside their camp. How are they tracking? How have they responded to that? Are they concerned about the trials? And do you think they're going to... Because they're huge underdogs. Are they going to be better than what we think?
I haven't heard them mention the trial game once.
Okay.
Not one mention of it, and I've been in team meetings, I've been in and around the camp. It has not been mentioned. Well, it was a poor performance, there's no doubt about that, right? But
you're not going to bring it up, are you, really?
Well, you're not going to...
if I'm Shane Flanagan, I'm not bringing it up either.
No, not at all. Not at all, right? But, it's sort of been dead and buried. But you look at what that side needs to do better. It's the end of sets. It's completing a little bit higher than what they did last year. And the concern for the Dragons was when the games were in the balance last year, they just couldn't find a way.
Well, do they have the 6 and 7 to do that now with Atkinson?
I think... So Daniel Atkinson hasn't played a lot of footy, right? Like, he played, 16 NRL games last year, started 1. And now he's been thrust into the number 7 jersey. What I've learned about him in the last couple of days is that he's extremely confident. He's really settled and comfortable in running and wanting to run the side. So that combination between Kyle Flanagan and Daniel Atkinson is something that's going to be a huge talking point.
It is. Are they a better team, Reedy, in 2026 with Daniel Atkinson as their half?
Jury's out for me, Braith. I mean,
I think they are.
How can you say that? How can you say that?
Why do you think they are?
Because the sample size of what we saw last year with Lycan King-Tongia and Kyle Flanagan in the halves, that was not going to play finals footy. Okay?
But you think they're going to play finals footy?
No, I'm not saying... No, I don't think they're going to play finals footy this year, the Dragons. But I feel like it's... You ask, is it better?
How's it got better?
Well, they were pretty bad last year.
Yeah. Well, you just said they wouldn't play finals footy, Mick.
No,
can't be much better.
The question... Reedy, the question was, are they a better halves combination? Yeah. I think we saw enough of the halves combination last year to suggest that it wasn't up to scratch.
But we haven't seen this halves combination at all.
So you don't think...
And as you said, Atkinson's not played a lot. I mean, he's 25, Daniel Atkinson. Yeah. 25, he's played, I think, 37 first-grade games. Vast majority of them off the interchange bench. I don't know how we can declare that their halves are going to be better.
So I think Daniel
you're not a fan, Reedy?
Well, no, I'm just saying, I think the jury is definitely out on them. Massively out on them.
Yeah, of course the jury's out, but I think he offers more than the halves that they had there last year.
In terms of his running game and kicking game. The problem is, Mick, he's a dangerous player. And I think in terms of talent, yeah, you look at him and you go, well, he's probably got a couple of those other guys covered, right? But is he even a halfback? You know, because this is what gets underestimated here. And we try and put 5/8 into halves and say, well, you know what, it's the same job. It's not the same job. And we see that with the elite teams compared to the ones down the bottom. If you're a 6, you're a 6, and if you're a 7, you're a 7. You know, we don't really know if he can, like Galvin, go and play 7 for a team that is struggling a lot more than what the Bulldogs are.
Honestly, I feel like we could say that about every one of the 4 sides this weekend.
Yeah, well,
you sit there and you look at their halves.
It's a great point.
We've got, there's so many question marks on all 4 sides. Do they have a controlling 7 in any of those 4 sides?
Yeah.
In any of the 4?
Can they make the 8? Quick tip before we move on.
Oh, no. I think I tipped them for the spoon, Braith.
I don't think
That's
they'll
another
harsh.
fan base you turn off.
That's harsh.
Parramatta, Dragons.
I don't think they make the 8.
I don't think Rudy's too concerned about what people think. We've learnt that over the years on this show. All right, let's move on to the Knights and the shock selection. Well, you could say it's a shock selection. Dylan Brown to play halfback. A lot of speculation, conjecture around this, what they were going to do, like the other 3 teams over here. What were the Knights going to do? How are they going to fit everyone into that spine? I'll come to you, Rudy. What do you think?
I think they made the right call. I think Fletcher Sharp's the right call because I think he's too talented not to be there ahead of Sandon Smith. I'm not sure who runs the team. That's the question. I suppose Kalen does because I think we saw at Parramatta, Dylan Brown couldn't really run that football team. I'm not sure it's in Fletcher Sharp's armoury either. So I imagine Kalen's the guy directing. And Kalen's pretty smart footballer.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is, and this was a while ago, that Kalen's defend at fullback, but in attack he'll very much play like a half, and Fletcher can then swing back at fullback in attack as well, and they can mix that. That's the good thing about the lethal players that they've got, is that they can be versatile. But again, that's hard to come up in an off season or a pre-season and deliver round 1, but probably the first few months
having not really played together.
Yeah.
Callum Pong hasn't played any trial games, has been limited with his injury as well. But no, I think it's the right call. You look at Newcastle last year, and even in the trials to start this year, they've just really struggled to find a way to score points. Fletcher Sharp is arguably, like Callum Pong is their most dynamic player, but Fletcher Sharp has elements of that as well. Yeah. So if there are any chance of winning on the weekend, they got to find some points, and I think he helps that.
You guys are sitting there Monday morning about to write a story about Newcastle. Who's under more pressure, Dylan Brown or Callum Pong?
Oh, tough question, Gordy. Probably Kalen, I reckon. Even though Dylan's on that monster contract, I think Kalen's the guy that everyone expects to lead them to the promised land.
I'm going to say Dylan, Gordy, because we know what level Kalen can get to, and there's a confidence in that camp that he will get there in the end. Dylan had an amazing run for the Kiwis at the back end of last year, but we haven't seen that consistent footy from him at the Eels. So I'm going to say Dylan Brown.
Big year for Dylan Brown and Callum Ponga as well. Now, there's a lot of pressure on both of them. There's no doubt about that. But what about Justin Holbrook? He's got a big job as well, taking on a team that have signed a big player in Brown, but also Callum there, and he's got big decisions to make, which he's already made for round 1. How do you see this playing out, and how do you see him coaching the team?
Well, he'll get time. I mean, he's got to get time. He's just got the job, right? But I think he's been a successful coach at times. Gordy made the finals at the Gold Coast one year, didn't he? He's a smart attacking coach. No, he's got some players there that he can work with who are smart attacking players. I drank the Kool-Aid a bit, Braith, because at one point I tipped them to make the 8. I've slid off that a little bit this year. I've dropped off that a bit.
Okay.
I'm not sure they'll make it, but I think they're going to go better than people think.
The thing with Newcastle is you look at their strengths, their front foot players, those attacking players that we've all mentioned, particularly down the short side. My concern is who's getting them on the front foot. That forward pack is nowhere near top 8 material. So they've got to try and manoeuvre a way to try and withstand what that forward pack is probably not up to it.
All right, we're going to get back to the Fan Fest, where we have Lara Pitt standing by with the chairman, Peter V'landys.
Yes, the 3rd annual Fan Fest has hit Fremont Street, and ARL Commission Chairman Peter V'landys, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised, but it does just blow us away, the turnout.
I can't believe how many people are here. I thought there was, we took over the streets in the first year, it doubled in the second year, and it's tripled in the third year. But the English fans have been trained by Matty Johns, because they're killing us here at the moment with the singing, the dancing. Us Aussies have got to do better.
But bringing the English fans into this concept has just been such an value-add to the whole experience.
Well, there's 10,000 have come from England for the Super League match, so they've added a complete new dimension to the whole thing. And but I'm just disappointed in the Aussies. We just seem to be getting beat.
But nothing beats this, Peter. I mean, have you had time to reflect on how far this concept has come from year 1 to year 3?
Look, I walked in tonight and it was very surreal to me. I couldn't believe how many people were here to take over old Las Vegas, and there's not a speck of space left. It goes a kilometre that way, and a kilometre that way, and it's full of people. It's unbelievable, and you know, we've taken over Las Vegas.
The security company said they've seen nothing like it before. Rugby League has officially taken over Old Town Las Vegas. For you, what's a measure of success for you this year in the whole concept? What are you looking at?
Oh, look, I think the measure of success is the crowd, naturally, the people that watch the game, record viewing in Australia. It gives us the momentum at the beginning to go the whole year. So it's very important to us.
Now, you've declared already you want to go to new places, conquer new frontiers. Why is that important for the game?
Well, we've got to globalise the game. We've got the best game in the world. We want to show the best game in the world. It's the most entertaining game, and we want to take it everywhere. And we've proven here how successful it can be to globalise the game.
Peter, you speak all the time about how that young boy that grew up in Wollongong as a migrant, how Rugby League embraced you. Was that in a red V jersey of St George Illawarra? Was that a Dragons jersey you were wearing?
Yes, well, I came from Illawarra and I followed the Dragons. From a young boy, they were my team, and so it's great to be able to be part of them being here now.
You've got all the heavy hitters in the game here. Are they the ones that haven't been before? What's their response to coming and seeing this for the first time?
Well, they're actually shocked. They shocked how good this is. The people that have been here for the first time are so impressed and so taken back at how popular it is.
Well, Peter, you're looking $1 million and you look like you're ready to take on the world. Thanks so much for your time. Enjoy all of this. You deserve it.
Thank you very much. And that, if I look $1 million, I don't want to be taxed on it, that's all.
Thank you so much.
Tony Ramos is...
What a great job Peter V'landys has done here in Vegas. People doubted him year 1, and it has got bigger and better every year. You can see by the fans down there on Fremont Street. Now, you guys stick around. There's plenty more to come. We're going to get to a break after. We're going to hear from the Knights and the Dragons. And here's a sneak peek at rivals.
We are here to settle one of the biggest debates in sport.
We got it in the bag.
We're going to get into our first rivals test, endurance carry. And at the end, we will crown the ultimate sport. Let's go! This is closing very fast.
They're coming now!
Here we go.
Welcome back. The fans are out in force at the Fan Fest. Everybody enjoying a few quiet sherbets in Vegas, and of course meeting their heroes before the big day. Only 2 days away now. We've got two of the best actually joining us to help us talk through and give us their analysis. Of course, it is Michael Ennis and Cooper Crom.
Hey, Gordon, how are you, mate?
There you go, mate.
Yeah, good,
How'd you go at golf today?
No good, he took the chocolate, so...
Oh, yeah, I did, didn't I?
What,
have
the
you done
chocolate
anything
soup?
else but play golf in Vegas?
I've been working really hard, ready for the weekend.
Where have you worked?
Yeah, a couple of games of golf, but, mate, just focus on the show, would you?
What about you, Mick? Inside the camp this time, very different. Usually, well, you are still working for us at Fox League, but as an assistant coach, how's it been?
It's been great, Braith. Yeah, we see it as a great privilege. Obviously, being able to experience it with Manly 2 years ago, and then came here last year from Fox and just seen it grow. We just saw Fremont Street again, and just the scenes down there and how big it's getting here, and now to be, part of the Dragons against the Bulldogs. Two big, passionate fan bases, and to see them out in force already, so many jerseys around, it's a great opportunity for our club, mate.
How has the prep been? There was a stumble in the trial, and I actually want to get your opinion on it, because do you look into that too much? Like, what was the takeaway?
Oh, look, there were certain periods of it that I thought we really showed glimpses of who we want to be as a footy side, and there's no denying there was periods where we weren't, but we also had plans, around time for certain individuals, certain players. Given the pre-season that we've had, it's been a tough pre-season, and there's been a lot of speculation and talk around us coming to Vegas, 2 days later than the Bulldogs. And everyone will have their opinion on it, but we're really comfortable. We stayed back in Sydney for that extra day or two to be able to build what we thought we needed to build on. Had a great session on the Thursday back at Wollongong in a pretty heavy opposed session, and then obviously got on the plane, and we're pretty happy with where we're at.
Brent Reed's put a line through.
I think Brent Reed just gave the pre-game
He's put
speech
a line through,
before.
Freddie. Have you got a response to the great man?
Brent's been known to have some little indifferent opinions on the show from time to time, but I'm glad because we as a coaching group were planning tomorrow's meetings, but he just did it for us.
Hey, talking about Lockie Galvin, a lot has spoken about. You're a champion halfback. Do you think he's got enough experience to run the 7?
Experience is a thing about time and getting reps into the position, but I believe in Cameron Ciraldo. I think Ciraldo's going to be a great coach. He'll mentor young Galvin, and there was enough in the back end of last year that I saw from Galvin, a couple of short passes, the combination with Preston. Now, on the left edge, you're going to have Kickout, Crichton and Burton together. That's dominant. On the right edge, you're going to need a little bit from Galvin and Preston, but I think when they recruited Galvin, they lost a little bit of their defensive DNA, the Dogs, and I don't think they're going to do that twice. I think they'll still be the best defensive team, and if that combination of Galvin and Burton, which I do believe in, I think they can deliver a top 4 finish, but can they deliver a prelim final victory in a grand final? That's yet to be
Cooper,
determined.
how much does a number 7 lean on a number 6?
A lot.
And that combination with Burton and Galvin.
A lot, right? There's not one traditional way that a halfback and a 5'8" should combine. In the perfect world, it's a good complementary role, right? You've got a organising, good temperament, good decision maker, and then a free-flowing 5'8". That's the traditional side. But just because you might have a bit more dynamic players doesn't mean you cannot combine well and attack well. I think the one thing the Dogs do well to help out Galvin and Burton is they've got Salmon and Man that are ball-playing middle. So it's a bit more comfortable for an inexperienced half to play one pass a little bit wider to do his thing, but they'll be a good team this year.
Mick, they were close last year, obviously finishing third. How do you think they'll go this year? And yes, they've made some key changes with Galvin coming across, and we're all speculating about Burton. But is that the key? If they get the halves right, they're premiership contenders, or how do you see it?
It's going to be interesting. They've built some great foundations defensively, and they've shown that they're a side that can really go the distance for 80 minutes, and that's a big focus for us, obviously, heading into the weekend, being able to do that with them for long periods. But I think we all know that Galvin came at a really interesting time. Mid-season, became available. There was a lot of talk about, Sexton had got them to a certain position. Could he get them further? Was Galvin the one to be able to get them to that next level? But I think we all knew that Galvin needed a pre-season there. He's a great player. He's going to be a really good player. Now, Burton still needs to be that real dominant player outside him. I think for the next 12 months, I think even though he's wearing the 6, I think Burton needs to be dominant to allow him to continue to grow into that number 7 position. But the challenge around that also is Hayward. He's only just come into that position as well. So I just think that the pre-season for Galvin will be absolutely vital, and I've got no doubt that he's going to have a great season with Canterbury.
Cooper, let's change colours. The Knights, obviously Dylan Brown. A lot spoken about him. Do you like him wearing a number 7?
Look, I think he's done all his great work with the 6 on his back. He's a dominant left-sided player. Fletcher Sharp is a talent. He's a try scorer. He's a line breaker. Dylan Brown's going to have to play out of his skin, and we've seen historically, Braith, you can back this up, when a 5'8" tries to play halfback, Jerome Luai last year, they lose their dynamic thrust running forward, and they start trying to service everyone in the team and doing things that a traditional halfback has done. This guy running the football is great, so if he keeps that up, maybe he can get the job done, but I'm worried about their kicking game, really nailing their last plays with Dylan Brown being the main guy. But the thing about all this is, I think Kalen Ponga can be an everywhere man for the Knights. He can be fullback, first receiver, second receiver, main kicker. If Kalen Ponga gets the Dalian type year, I think it can massage some of the gaps.
Mick, do you see it similar, playing out that way with Newcastle?
I'm not sure, Braith. I'm not. I'm looking forward to seeing Newcastle play for the first 6 weeks. I've worked with Dylan. I love him as a 6. I love him as a left-sided player. I loved his form and the freedom that he played with for the Kiwis at the back end of the year, and just how important Kieran Foran and that type of half, that experienced half around him. He played his best footy, with Mitch Moses, who's a genuine 7. And it'd be interesting because if you look at the Knights' spine, the Titans are going through a similar situation. They've had Campbell, Kinney, and Brimson for so long, haven't they? And they try and fit their best players into the team, and they've done that with Sharp because he's such a good player. Was Sharp better at, still so young in his career, playing on the wing where we saw him, be able to roam midfield and still cause havoc and play like that second fullback at times, and then you give Sandon Smith an opportunity to run the footy team as that genuine 7. Time will tell.
You put Smith at 7?
I'm not saying that. I just think time will tell. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how it works.
Hey, Coop, do you have any money left after golf?
No, he took it all.
Who do I tip?
He paid
Knights
for
or
it,
Cowboys or Dragons or Bulldogs?
Paid for golf.
He paid for
I
it
won
and took
golf
my
and I
money.
got 1 beer off him at the end. Seriously, you're good, you are.
Hey, your contract, come on.
Quick tips. Obviously, you're going to go the Dragons against the Dogs. What about the other game?
I think the Cowboys.
Cowboys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Bulldogs beat the Dragons, and I agree. I think the Cowboys, what they did against Penrith, even though they were reserve grades, so they look pretty interesting.
All right, thank you, Coops. Thank you, Mick. We'll see
Thank
you
you both.
later on in the week when we get to a break after. We're going to catch up with GM of the PNG Chiefs of GM of Football, Michael Chemis. And, of course, face-to-face is back. And we've got Dylan Brown on tonight.
I'll get this out of the way. 13 million for 10 years. To talk to your family, what was their reaction?
My dad laughed, actually.
Did he?
He goes, what?
Dylan Brown is set to earn in excess of $1.3 million a year.
You sure you're going to go ahead with this deal? You can't refuse that money.
The price tag. The young people talk about pressure. Do you feel pressured?
I think something they talk about a lot is like pressure is a privilege.
Yeah.
The price tag, the pressure that comes with that, I don't think it bothers him, which is a great thing.
You, yourself, Fletcher, Kalen, mate, that's an enormous running threat.
Freedom's something they're driving a lot. He wants us just playing what we see.
They'll be cheering this bloke next year. They're not cheering him now.
6'7". That's all the young people are doing. Originally, Sander was named in the 7. You're going to play 7.
Yeah, I don't mind it. When I spoke to Justin, I'm slowly taking that sort of responsibility upon myself to be a better leader.
Brown standing again. Dylan Brown. What a game!
Look, we had a good series, so I think the challenge for me is, finding my voice a bit more, especially in a new team.
Welcome back to NRL 360, and it is rocking and rolling down on Fremont Street tonight at the Fan Fest. The Cowboys have arrived. The rock star Jason Taumalolo, Coach Toddy Payton, everyone is dancing. Have a look at this. We're going to have to head down after this, that's for sure. And, of course, the Dragons, they'll be looking for an upset win against the Bulldogs in a couple of days' time. And I'm joined by a very special guest, GM of Football of the PNG Chiefs, Michael Chemis. Chemi, I've got a very important question for you, actually.
Hit me.
Now, you've been on 100% footy. You're now on NRL 360. Which one's better?
Well, put it this way, if I came here 12 months ago, one of you two or both of you probably throw me off the balcony. But anyway,
I tell you what, I never thought I'd see the day, but
No.
welcome and
Thank you.
congratulations, mate. I mean, what an opportunity it is for you with the PNG Chiefs, and I've spoken to you a few times about it. You do a lot of work behind the scenes. How do you feel about it?
No, excited. Like, what an opportunity to build a rugby league team from scratch, and not just any rugby league team. Like, you guys have played for a long time. You've been to PNG a number of times. Not sure if you've been Braith, but like, it's a religion over there. And to be part of the team that starts it up, what an honour.
You've been a journalist for 20 years, and not just a journalist. The last couple of years, you'd be close to the best, really. You've come so far. So many huge headlines, big stories, you name it, you were producing it. Now, you've walked away from that to walk into this job. Talk us through it.
Someone had to make it really look good, so it's...
That's not hard.
No. Well, like, I loved what I did. I could have done it for the rest of my life, Braith, but I got to a point where I was like, I felt like I wanted a bit more, and I've said I got the chance last year, or 2 years ago, to work with the Sydney Roosters, sit in with Trent Robinson, like the boys are doing now with some of these teams, on the way to Vegas, and be with them in a sanctum, and I just was like, it's pretty cool to be part of, a team pushing towards winning a premiership or a common goal where, I played footy growing up, not at a high level, but I loved it. It's why I'm in journalism, because I love playing footy. But to actually be part of a team, to do that, I wanted that again. And writing about it was one thing, being part of it, that was an itch I wanted to scratch.
Okay, obviously when you sit down and you're planning out, you need a big fish.
Yeah.
Is it a coach? Is it a player? Who is it?
The first thing we need to do, Gordy, is get a coach, right? And the commission will select the coach. But once we get that, things will start to roll. And that's the most important piece of the puzzle. I can make all the plans and spreadsheets in the world about who's off contract and who's coming available at certain times. The reality is you want the coach to be able to pick the players. And that's the first piece of the puzzle, making sure that we get a coach on board and then we'll work on.
Who's the coach going to be?
Well, there's a lot of. The good thing is we've had a lot of good candidates put their hand up. Now, I will be honest, we did sound out Ivan Cleary. Now, Ivan Cleary is off contract at the end of 2027, so it'd be negligent of us not to suss out Ivan. Had a number of chats with Ivan. Look, he's a big believer in what we're doing with PNG. He's a big supporter, and he made that clear to me, but it's not the right time for him to go and do that. So it's good that someone like Jason Demetrio, Adrian Lamb, Willie Peters, Brad Arthur, they've all come out publicly and said they want to be part of the PNG Chiefs. So now it's part of a process with the commission. They'll go through that. They'll decide the coach.
Wayne Bennett's name is always linked. It just simmers.
Yeah. I had a chat with Wayne the other day, just more around picking his brain around some of these coaches, but also, you know, he's going to. It sounds like everyone's reporting he's going to extend at South Sydney, but he really believes in PNG, and he wanted to offer some help and advice if ever I need it. So it's good to have someone.
Okay, you're writing the letter to Santa, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Who's your first player?
Santa.
Well,
who's because that's what you want, mate. Like your best Christmas present under the tree. Who's your favourite player?
Week 1, you want to get me in trouble with the NRL for anti-tampering already?
Come on, guys.
Hey.
Okay, well,
I'll say this: how do you convince the players? Because it's a huge step. You got families; they're going to be a little isolated there.
Yeah.
You know, you got to look after their wives, their partners, their kids. You're taking a bit of a, I don't know if it's a risk or a gamble, but it's a long way from home.
It is. Yeah, and look, let's be fair to income here. A big draw card for the players is going to be the tax-free money, right? Yeah. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're not naive. That's going to be a large chunk of their reasoning behind coming to the PNG Chiefs. But if it's the only reason, it's not going to work. Like, they've got to become for more than that. The players that are just coming for the paycheck, it's just not going to create an environment that's going to be sustainable. What we want are guys who would genuinely want to make a difference to the country, genuinely want to make a difference and be an inspiration to all those kids. So if you get that right player, well, then it makes it a lot easier to be able to get...
You can't name names, right? But and you just touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
What type of player do you want to be a PNG Chief?
Unselfish, driven by things like actually changing that country, because we can sort... It sounds airy-fairy, but genuinely, you can change the country. It's like when I sat down to myself making a decision, walking away from journalism, it was like, well, this was a greater sense of purpose, a meaning for me. And you know what? You talk about players. Well, I think Lara was interviewing Peter Volandis before, and he said, "Looks $1 million. He wants tax-free money." So I might have to sign Peter for our first play. He's looking good.
What about the expectations? It's going to be hard. It doesn't matter, even if you get 4 or 5 marquee players, you know, and you've got a really solid team there. It's going to be hard to have success early. Are you concerned about that, or are you confident that you can get off the ground running?
I'm actually not. I'm confident about the football side of things. I'm confident that the roster's going to be competitive. I'm confident from the phone calls that I've had with a number of people in the game, players, agents, that we're going to put together a competitive roster. The challenge is going to be creating an environment, and by that I mean families, wives, children, making sure they're happy. That is the number one issue, because if players are coming back to the village and their wives are unhappy, forget about it. Like it's going to be difficult then to be competitive. So what we need to do is create systems around them to make sure that they are happy. And I honestly believe, I'm not going to make any bold, outlandish statements, but this is a team that's going to be competitive from the outset.
Yeah, so then you're confident it'll be on the ground running, raring to go with the time that you've got.
Yeah, we're 2 years till kick-off. Our first game is in 2 years. The players come into pre-season in about 20 months.
Yep.
I'm very confident that...
When can you get into the market?
Well, we can get into the market now. This is where everyone's thinking, you got to wait till November 1. Well, if you look at the way the contracting model is, players who are off contract right now, end of 2026, they're free agents. So we can talk to them. You might be able to convince a player, you sign for 2028. You would know about it with Jonah Pezzett and how we did the deal with Brisbane and Parramatta. And they can do a 1-year extension with where they are, or another club. So someone like a Payne Haas, I know he's now signed at South Sydney, but let's just say we got into the market at the right time. We could have gone for Payne Haas. We could have gone for Payne Haas and signed him for 28, and he could have done a 1-year extension with the Broncos for 27.
I've been asked a question once, and someone asked me, if you're Perth or PNG and you had the choice to sign Payne Haas or Reece Walsh, and of course this is hypothetical, in your opinion now as a GM of football and what you're looking for, would you rather the flashy, flamboyant Reece Walsh, or would you rather the workman-like, consistent, fit, powerful front rower? Like, who would you rather build your team around if you had the choice?
Oh, look, I love my X factor, don't get me wrong, but I think with Perth, like, so for example, they need to sell the game to people of Perth. We don't need to sell rugby league to PNG, right?
Good point.
They live and breathe it more than anywhere else in the world. Like, it is absolutely crazy how they are over there about rugby league. So we don't need to sell the sport. What we do then is to build a roster that works with the coach and the way they want to play. So if the coach wants Reece Walsh playing us, that's up to them.
Well, Mick, I think you're doing a magnificent job. Again, congratulations, and you're welcome on NRL 360 anytime. Okay, and we want you next time. I want you to say NRL 360 is better than 100. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gordy. That's it for NRL 360 for tonight. We'll see everyone again tomorrow night.